Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Melhorn Fishing Podcast. Hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be listening to the show. Today, we're going to talk about fishing hooks. I've got a lot of videos about fishing hooks, but I've had a lot of questions lately, and we're going to talk a little bit about it and just go over a few things that have popped up recently. I don't know if it's worth doing a big, formal, complex video about it, but sometimes when I do videos about things, I go into great detail, show a lot of pictures, that kind of thing, and sometimes I can skip over some stuff that I think of when I'm just talking about it, which is what I do with you guys when I do these podcasts. So that's we're going to try that today and talk about it. I want to say give a quick shout out to our sponsor today, Wind Rider. Those are the people that are making this shirt that I've got on. We've partnered with them to use some of their clothing for fishing this year going into next, and I've got some of their shirts on. These are the hooded ones. I wore one of these before. This one actually has a hood on it. It also has one of these built-in neck gaiters. I tried out one of the other shirts that didn't have a hood, and that's one of the things I kept saying in the videos. I need one with a hood. I wear hoods religiously in the summertime. It's just so much easier out in the sun, and dude, we've got like 105 degree heat index today, so it's going to be brutal, but I like keeping the sun off of me. This gives some extra protection from sun on your face. So if you're not wearing sunscreen, which I suggest you do, but if you don't, I understand that. I don't like wearing it on my arms and my hands and stuff. I'll put some on my face, but I like having the hood. It keeps it off the back of my neck too. So good garments. It's on my website, DieterMelhornFishing.com. There's a link there with a promo code to where you can get a discount on some of their stuff. I'll be showing you some more of their stuff as the year goes on, so keep in touch on that. But yeah, Wind Rider, great company to partner with. Hooks come in a lot of different sizes, and there is no uniform way they are designated, is the best way to say it. An 8/0 hook by one company may be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller than an 8/0 hook by another company. Number 4 hook, same thing. So, that's the first bit of the confusion. The other confusion is all the different types, circle hooks, J hooks, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk mainly about circle hooks because I think a circle hook is the best hook to use for any type of fishing. I think it's a easy hook set. Let me back up. I'm not going to say for any type of fishing. There are times when I think a J hook can be more effective. There are instances where I use treble hooks on lures that I'm pulling, plugs, that kind of thing. So, but 95% of the fishing you see me do, I'm going to be using a circle hook, even when I'm catching perch and crappie. I just love the ease of operation, especially on guided trips. Basically, what a circle hook is, it means that the point is, I'm going to get a little screwdriver here. The point is perpendicular to this, which means it's basically the point is sticking straight down toward the shank of the hook. Not up here, not over here, not over here. It's perpendicular to the shank of the hook. That is the simplest way to describe a circle hook. It doesn't have so much to do with a circle bend to the hook here. It's just basically that shank. It creates a quick, easy setup. Now, we all kind of know that. I assume we all know that. Maybe not everybody knows that. A J hook, that point just goes straight back up. It's parallel or somewhat parallel to the shank of the hook. This is the shank of the hook here. So we've got that kind of established. I like circle hooks. We'll talk about those. But this really applies to J hooks, what I'm about to tell you. The big thing on bait size, and I get this in a lot of videos, especially when I'm doing a video about different catfish baits, whether it be chicken, shad, cut bait, whatever it is, what size hook do I use? And the thing I say repeatedly, and I say this in my videos, is match the bait to the hook, or I should say match the hook to the size of the bait that you're using. I had that backwards. Match the hook to the size of the bait that you're using. And that's kind of a nebulous term too, I agree. But if you know you're going to be fishing with small pieces of bait, and a lot of times when I'm using chicken, it may be a piece as big as the end of my finger. And I can catch 30, 40, 50 pound fish on a piece of bait that size, okay? I don't use a hook this big to put that little piece of bait on there because I know this is a big enough hook for a 50-pound fish. I go with a smaller hook that is more suited to the size of the bait. Couple of reasons for that. One is just the moving and flexing of the bait itself, especially when you start getting into live bait. If you're pulling around, skipjack that are maybe this big, which is a big bait, you don't necessarily want to put in a hook that big into that skipjack when you can hook it with something that may be an 8/0 will cover, or maybe a 10/0. This is like a 12/0 hook, by the way. The other thing is, it's just the fish sensing the hook itself. Depending on what kind of feeding mood they're in, what is going on, if they feel that hook and feel that metal when they take that bait, especially depending on the direction they take it from, that means the fish could drop the bait. So it's a little less stuff in the way is what I'm getting at. The big thing is, go as small as you can go within reason. And again, we're getting into some terms here that are kind of open-ended, and there's no definite. The big defining factor, I'll try to get a few of these hooks up here, is going to be how you can go really, really small if you can get the wire gauge of these hooks. You can see the shank on each of these hooks is thicker. Okay, these are 3 different size hooks. I think we got like a 12, an 8, and 6, I believe. But the wire gauge is thicker. Sometimes you can get some hooks that have a very thick wire gauge. Now, these are typically not the ones you're going to get from the catfish tackle vendors out there. You're going to have to start going into some saltwater stuff and getting some specialty hooks. Mustad makes some. I think Gamakatsu makes some. A lot of times they're defined as 2x strong or 4x strong. That has to do with how thick the wire is, basically the wire gauge on this stuff. You got to think these things are made from one big long single strand of stuff. It's cooked or cut, bent, wrapped, and a point's put on it a lot of times chemically. And this wire gauge varies depending on the hook. Obviously, the smaller the hook, a lot of times people want smaller wire gauge. And depending on what you're fishing for, what kind of bait you're using, you may want that smaller wire gauge also. So my thing is, again, match it to the bait. Something that little, something like this is going to work fine. I have caught my personal best fish, my 82 and my 71, 72-ish, and I don't know how many 60s on a hook that big, because they hit small baits that I had out. Had out big baits on hooks this size. Didn't have them on anything this big, but had them out on bigger baits, 8/0 hooks. Those baits got passed over for something smaller. That hook brought them in fine. That hook will go into the corner of a catfish mouth just fine. I think a lot of people, I don't advise anybody to do that, by the way. Don't do that, kids. A lot of people are thinking they want this thing in case it rolls into the bottom of the mouth. And circle hook by design is, if it does what it's supposed to and the hook set is proper, and it's going to go into the corner of the mouth. So occasionally you'll get one that's hooked in the bottom of the jaw. It's very, very rare when that happens, though. The other thing is, most of that is going to happen when you're using offset circle hooks. Every one of these hooks is offset. This is a way to increase the catch rate. This one is offset, and it's hard to find non-offset hooks. There's another one that's kind of got a double offset to it. The reason for an offset hook is to increase your catch rate, and that is because it's more likely to deep hook a fish. A true circle hook in its original design is in line. The point is in line with the shank of the hook. That eliminates a lot of the deep hooking that takes place. These are designed to up the catch rate. They'll call them double threat, triple attack, whatever. Basically all you're doing is offsetting the hook in a couple of different directions. That is how you throat hook fish and deep hook fish with a circle hook. That's what leads to most of that. You can find inline hooks. I don't know of any catfish terminal tackle place that sells them, mainly because they're more interested in the hookup rate than the protection of the fish and protection of the species. And the inlines come from the billfish world, where they release these fish, and that's where you're going to find them. That's going to be your specialty hooks, your Gamakatsus, your mustad, that kind of thing. So that's where you'll see those hooks. But again, go as small as you can get by with. People ask, what size am I using with like the chicken baits, the smaller baits? 4/0, 5/0, that's perfect. If you're only got channel catfish in your area and you're dealing with smaller fish, you can go smaller than that. A 2/0, maybe a number 2 hook, will increase your catch rates. That is another thing. When you go with the smaller hooks on the smaller baits, it will increase the number of fish that you are catching. I will tell you that. So you guys that are fishing in an area that has small fish, and you know, you're dreaming of a big fish. Everybody dreams of a big fish. That's half the reason they use the big hook. They think that's going to help catch a big fish. It doesn't. If anything, it may deter a fish. But if you're in an area that's got smaller fish, maybe smaller blues, smaller channel cats, go with smaller hooks. You're going to catch a lot more fish. I've got some videos out where we were testing some little bitty pieces of bait, chicken and cut bait side by side, using it on like number 6 hooks, number 4 hooks, number 4, not 4/0, and we caught a lot of fish. Very easy, a much higher hookup rate doing that. So keep all this in mind with where you're fishing and how you're fishing. And on top of that, the number 8 hook, it's a number 6 hook, a number 6 Octopus J hook. We caught a 17-pound blue cat and a flathead that was, I believe, 36 pounds. So it'll catch them. You got to be a good angler to do it, though. That's a level of angling and fishing that's a little bit tougher. I don't suggest you try that until you're very skilled at what you're doing. For most people, going with the bigger hooks, and it's going to make it easier for you to get the fish in. So, but it just shows you what the possibilities are out there, is what I'm getting at. So my suggestion, cut baits, 8/0, maybe a 10/0 if it's a really big piece of cut bait. Smaller baits like the chicken baits where you're trying to mimic mussels, that kind of thing. Small pieces of cut bait, anywhere from 2/0 to 5/0, somewhere in there. I go with 5/0. I pretty much run 5/0 and 8/0 hooks on my boat. When you get on the boat on the guide trip with me, those are the two you're going to see. You're going to see the 5/0s for the regular baits, and then the 8/0s for the bigger baits, unless we got something really stupid huge, and then I may put on one of these Catfish Pro 10/0 hooks for that. So that's kind of some feedback, something to think about today as you kind of ponder all this stuff. I get to go out in 105-degree heat and put my Wind Rider shirt to work, so I'm going to go fishing. We'll catch you guys out on the water.